1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Syncing audio complete. I like this bare bones format, but I wonder if there could just be a little jingle. Welcome back to my channel. Oh, fuck. Not that. Okay. I don't know where I'd get it from though. How do we creatively group brainstorm a jingle together? I would love to know. I wanted to jump into questions first of all because I asked in my first video. I asked in my second video for questions, and then Jennifer pointed out she's already asked the question. Okay, so can you just answer my one from the first video before you go asking for more? We expect a 24-hour turnaround on answers to questions, just like we do for our email policy in the office, which we'll bring up. I'll bring that up in any other business. Is that okay with everyone else? All right, just getting back to the agenda. That was supposed to be the Microsoft Teams theme tune. It didn't give me, and it doesn't give me PTSD in the way that people describe that it does, because I sort of had a firm commitment to never answering the phone, and my my work phone that I was given in my last job, I just turned it off on day one. I set it to call forwarding to my kind of like generic, first of all, just my phone number, because when I started doing this council, they didn't have Teams. They were not using Microsoft Teams to make calls. Like, we still had normal desk phones when I started, which is just so funny to me. Anyway, but people were losing their minds, like we were living on Mars with how wild it is that I don't have a physical console anymore. I don't know how to I don't even know how to make a call anymore. These same people are also on six-figure salaries, and they also have a job, whether they make good, engaging, interesting content or choices in their job. They also have jobs, whether or not they are consistent, disciplined, and conscientious. They also have a salary for all of that, and they're not rewarded or not based on how having to, internally motivate. If they want to take a sick day, they get money for it, and nothing changes. I sound like I'm trying to start rage a war with anyone who has a job. While I'm sitting here unemployed with a sugar-free Red Bull that I may consume at some point during this broadcast. And I just want to talk you through this little platter platter day, which I just got. This ham was marked down to 88 cents in clearance, and these two truffle bries were $1.60 each, down from like $7 each. I just couldn't. So I just did myself up a little, just a little. It's not gonna be a weird food eating thing. I love Trisha Paytas. I would love her more if she never ate anything in her life on camera, because the sound of her, as people say, smacking, it's even that. No. Someone in the comments last time was like, yeah, I think you do have ADHD. Do you also have autism as well? Probably. Okay. Jennifer asks, please let us know what are your, you feel like you have a lot of different channels, but please let us know what are yours so you're not being scammed. On YouTube, I'm Audio Video Disco. On TikTok, I'm Special K Wormsley. And on Instagram, I'm Kyle Instagram Wormsley. Thank you so much for asking. I believe the fake YouTube account has been taken down, but then imagine if you're watching this on an account that has 1 follower and like this video has 2 views. Well, they don't have many more than 2 views anyway. I'm just saying, like, imagine if someone stole this video. I'd really endorse that and find that funny. Nineveh Daniel asks, and what do you use to track yourself when filming? Smiley face emoji. Well, sorry, I don't know how to describe. What's this smiling face? What do you call that? Smiling face emoji? What do you call this? Colon and bracket? Like vintage smiley? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. And we can address that at the start of the next video. I use a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Thank you so much for asking. Keep the comments and questions and anything else coming through as we move on to our next segment in tonight's programming, which I really just wanted to talk about. I was inspired, just 2 things that we'll know about 62, of course, but we'll just find each one as we stumble upon it. I was inspired by my friend Danielle. Hey, boo. She my ride or die for life. But she brought up a good point, which is like, is spite a motivating factor for you? And thank you for that question. The questions can also come in offline form. We're small enough at the moment that I can handle any question and you can just text it to me. And the answer is yes, I mostly and always am motivated by spite. We'll dive into some more key stories, I think, another time about spite and how much that is just rocket fuel to me achieving anything. Resentment, spite, anger. Yeah, it's really, and you might think like, oh, what are you saying? You shake your fist at, the kids that ride past your house and then give them the cops the finger under the window. Yes, but I'm speaking way more tangibly. I'm thinking of like shows that I've made that wouldn't exist without it starting from a place of vendetta. I don't think that's healthy. Let me be very clear. I don't think that is the correct, sustainable, healthy mindset to make art, to live a life, anything. I'm just saying it's just what I've noticed. That weight loss journey in the last video, spite, definitely, resentment. And then I was thinking about achieving stuff and the big kind of magical wild swings that ADHD or whatever this is, just cooked head syndrome, can take you in. And it is kind of, I'm only now starting to acknowledge that, like, actually I do have some skills. And actually, that wasn't a series of flukes of these kind of, milestones in my life or career or performance kind of artistry. They actually were all, the kind of common connecting theme is me in all of those. I didn't hypnotize and, take hostage the audience or Stephen K. Amos when I entered the Raw comedy competition. That wasn't all a giant mistake, despite walking outside and my friend and fellow competitor being pulled up in the street and being like, I'm so sorry to me. You definitely should have won. You definitely should have won, to my friend. Little bit awkward. But I have done good. I got to the national finals of that competition. I have won awards, and the answer isn't always because it's Darwin and it's such a tiny pool and it's it's just easy to be at the top of the pot. No, like yes, but also yeah, and I'm good. I did get into NIDA. What does that mean? Nothing really, but it's like a lot of people don't, and I don't. That can't be. It can't have been that day that Christine Landon Smith was tired and just not making good decisions, and that's why I got in. Because for the longest time, that is what my truth is. Still, I'm getting a lot sidetracked because this is veering away from manifestation, which is really what I want to talk about. But no, it is connected because I think it's even hard, even pretending and doing bravado and jokes in real life about like, oh yes, because I'm such a famous actor, I'm at NIDA. When really all I'm screaming is to say, please validate me and say well done. I really want you to say well done. And I'm not brave enough to say that. So I'm going to make a joke about it. And then I'm going to make a blog about it. Then I'm going to quit NIDA because I really am better than it. But I don't even need it. That's how much I'm okay with not having it. And I don't deserve it. And then I'm going to make a show about that called Everything I Learned at NIDA. And then I'm going to put that in Sydney Fringe. And then I'm going to play out the kind of teachers and things. And then I'm going to just keep a kind of obsessive casual watch on all my classmates from the graduating class of 2014, 15, 16. And I'm just going to check whether, like, yeah, that's fine. I've got 2 years up my sleeve while they finish and I can do whatever I want. And that's a head start. Oh, fuck. They've all graduated now. Shit. Okay. Are they getting TV roles? Cool. Why does my agent also represent dogs? Not a joke from a former agent. Anyway, was represented by someone who represented kids and dogs. It was like, and then I just think like, okay, I do often find myself, there's like this kind of confusing constant juxtaposition of like, the divine to the absurd, like these moments of like, wow, got into NIDA. Like I was at the weird dodgy agent in Sydney had auditions to kind of get into the agency. And really it was, you had to pay for that class or something like that. I mean, I know you don't need to tell me, get MEAA in the room right now, but whatever. It was, that's the union for those who don't know. it was so weird. And then after it, two of the facilitators who were like her helpers, they just run a series of like games and activities, and it was, weird and awkward and everything you'd imagine from an agent on the northern beaches of New South Wales, like running an agency on a Wednesday night from a community hall right before they run drama classes, I think, after it. And the two facilitators ran out with like, hey, you're really good. We just wanted to let you know. I don't know whether you're going to go with her or not, but like, you should go to drama school or audition or something like that. And I was like, thank you. I just dropped out of NIDA, actually. Like, I'm here because I have been. I got in, but thank you. I quit it. I threw it away. So what are all these threads? I don't know. Maybe you can make sense of them. But I think the thing about manifestation is that I'm really into it. And I'm into it in a very specific way that works for me. But I think what are the key principles of the things that I enjoy about this woo-woo topic of what I think is too far in the works of like Rhonda Byrne and stories about like, my eyes were really bad and then I wished and wished and wished enough to Sky Daddy and then they were fixed. Or even, I'm just going to be a little bit controversial and take that further, in the realm of faith healing and the kind of like, and prayers for wellness. What they are good intentions, and I still think good intentions are worth something. And also gentle dance and tango with placebo, which I think is the most incredible healing gift. I think our minds do make medicine, though. We know that kind of like stress and negative emotions, are linked to kind of health-related outcomes, right? People are putting their heart under stress, even just having more like wrinkles in your face if you spend more time in an angsty kind of a thing. I've spent a lot of time in an angsty, facial expression. But I think I don't think that's crazy to anyone to know like spiteful, kind of angry people that are full of kind of heavy hardness often end up embroiled in kind of health things. There is something like blissfully ignorant and life and light about being chipper and optimistic. I truly believe that. But I think what that looks like, the idea of an emotion, a feeling, an intention, a sensation, is so clumsily defined by words. Okay, don't go too far off the tripper end just yet, Kyle. Stay with me. By that, I just mean that like these feeling states that I think are connected to our health and well-being and the physical world around us. Well, like a couple of things. We're all in a simulation, and this reality is just a series of like impulses and light and information coming in that we're producing into like light and shapes and we're not producing. Well, yeah, I guess we are producing light anyway. But if you don't want to go with me there, that's fine. We can just shelve that to the side. Just step that one over the side there if you're not on board. But if you're on board and you've done enough mushrooms to kind of come along, let's keep going. I think that's like the fundamental principle. And then there is just like a really kind of mathematical, explainable and, verifiable type of manifestation that is the kind of new car theory of like, I'm shopping for a particular car, a blue Mazda. And then I start seeing blue Mazdas everywhere. There are not more blue Mazdas in the world suddenly being created quickly in time for you and your week this week. It's the fact that your field of focus is narrowed in a really specific way. In the same way that you move into a house and a buzzing or a road or something suddenly is like you're aware of all that information coming in. But then after a few months, you can't even hear it before. And when the guests come over and they're like, what's that noise? You're like, what noise? It's the amazing ability of our minds to be able to filter reality in completely different ways at any time. And thank F, right? Because we'd probably all walk around and like just want to, if you were really able to receive the world 100% in its full form at all times. Holy smokes. I really didn't think we were going to go like, 2 a.m. by the campfire, pass it round kind of level of cooker, chat. But we are, and proudly so. And so I think there is that kind of like selective focus. I think there is the fact that you could just look at it again from like having a big audacious goal and articulating that is just like a really intense form of goaling. And in doing so, people often don't even get to that state because they say like, well, I want all the things that everyone wants. And you quickly realize sometimes when talking to people like this that no, actually, everyone doesn't want the same thing. Are you kidding me? It's easy. And also, have you actually articulated what you do want? You've whinged about what you don't want. You don't like this job. Let's just talk to myself here. You don't like this job, Kyle. You don't like this, like the kind of conversation and the way that you're filling your time and day. You don't like what you're doing and producing. You don't like how you're being spoken to. All of those things. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And then I think manifestation, therefore, is not like this thing that involves lying in your bed before night and then picturing you're always a car, right? Whoever the big car industry really got in early on the white Western capitalist kind of like mythology, foundation startup kind of like investment, didn't they? Because you never hear, even kids know that the right things to say, if you are rich, have a nice car. It's so funny, isn't it? Gold, same as jewelry. It's like, why are those particular colors and rocks like so? And we, I know blood diamonds, blah, blah, blah. But it is just so weird that we've just decided some things like, yeah, this particular, whoa, it's a Birkin cameo. Roll the little theme tune that happens when there's a Birkin cameo. Okay, this is a really quite, like, I was trying to keep YouTube a little bit more of a focused and a less kind of just like ADHD train running off the tracks without Keanu Reeves or Sandra Bullock to save it. But like, why is a kind of misshapen, animal skin worth $35,000? Who decides that? Who decides that? I mean, we all do. We have, but also heavily kind of like controlled by wealth and power and the decisions of what people should be buying. Okay, righto. Have a cracker? No, don't. You're on camera. Okay. So I think manifestation is interesting. I think it is. There has been like miracles in my life that are best explained with a kind of greater force, having input, but also that greater force being in this really like reciprocal co-creative role with myself. I think that we all are the universe and we all are divine in our energy. And I think if there was some sort of divine figure in a kind of Western religious sense, it would definitely be a woman and not a man. It's so strange that is a force that is so present. It's just like the older I get, the more convinced I am, as if women who can create life are not the kind of divine source of everything. Like, that's just wild to me. Yeah, like men have value and are really important too, and they're part of the like conceiving, but it's just extremely magic that you can just create life out of a person. And then there's another person that can do the same. Wild. Anyway, let's just get back onto manifesting without really sort of going into too far into psychedelic imagery of mother's birthing. I was trying to look around to see if I had my artwork that I got in Portland from a little local, which feels like every store, a little local artisan store. And it's just like a series of women with like eyes in their vaginas in this kind of like where is it? Not within reach. Okay, we've spent too much time on it. Now I've made that a whole thing. All right. I do also think that there is I'm really into this book. Let me just show it to you. Mind Magic by James Doty. I think I have referenced it before. I mean, why I'm into it is that he's a legit scientist, and it talks about it. I mean, he opens the book by saying the universe doesn't give a fuck about you. And it says the universe, that's not a bad thing. The universe doesn't give a fuck about you. Why am I trying to like make it up? It's just here. The universe doesn't give a fuck about you. It may not sound like it, but this is good news. The universe doesn't give a fuck about you, not because you are not worthy or are out of alignment with the cosmos or have been put under a curse for 10 generations. No, the universe doesn't give a fuck about you because it has no fucks to give. So it's a practical, no nonsense version of The Secret or any of those other things. But also, at the end of the day, it comes from a place of like, the goal of manifestation is not to rub a magical lamp and get whatever you want. The goal of manifestation is to become the best, most like enlightened version of yourself, I think. And knowing that, I love remember in that TV show Weird Science? I think it was a movie first, but then a TV show brought back in my era. And I love this, that like the principle of the give and take of like, yeah, you can wish for $1 million, but that $1 million has come from somewhere. And I think there's an episode early on where there's a news report that's like $1 million missing from the bank of something, customers outrageous, when it's like, oh, hang on, I can manifest. And I think that's almost a nice way to think of it. I can take more at the moment. Each of us watching this, right, take this much. If you're Jeff Bezos, you take a lot. If you're Musk, you take a lot. If you're Trump, you're like, you're taken by the minute, increasing your take and ask by the minute. But you can ask for more. You can push out. You can ask for more eyeballs on you. You can ask for more money, but that money has to come from somewhere and someone, ultimately. I think that's a really nice thing. Me personally, I have no problem whatsoever being paid by organizations to do voiceovers for pretty much anything, bar like a fairly extreme set of political maybe ads or something that I'd be asked to do. But even then, you could probably buy me for the right price. And I feel fine taking that money because I feel like it comes from larger money, same as from money from local governments. Like when I started to look at those budgets and see how much people were getting paid for different activities and things, having spent most of my like previous roles like being freelance before that and gigging and being the one that gets paid and being like, I guess I'll just shave $100 off because maybe they'll get me back next time. Are you kidding? People, there is just money flying out the door there. The greatest tip... Oh, don't stop, Kyle. We're going to do that money episode another time too. I felt sick actually. Little fun spoiler alert there. I haven't done my tax in 10 years. Okay, moving on. Don't dwell on that too long. But I think money is there to be taken. Would I feel comfortable going up to someone selling the Big Issue on the street and saying, "Hey, I've got a comedy show coming up. Tickets are $30, but I can do you a deal for $25?" No, I probably wouldn't. But again, I'm making a series of judgments about them and what they can afford and should afford and whatever I think. And I don't think all of them are right or fair or ethical. Anyway, I think though that you have to do some big wrestling with those ideas if you do want to like fully lean in. My friend Katie and I were talking maybe last year even, and we're talking about manifesting, and I totally agree. She was like, but what evidence or who have you seen that has done manifesting in the kind of big woo-woo? I went to bed every night and put my dream spunky hubby on my poster, and then he walked into my life one day. I couldn't believe that I'm being Caitlin Riley now. I couldn't believe that hunky guy that walked in and ordered a half-strength weak almond latte would be the man that I am looking at today across this aisle. I love you, Darren. I cannot wait to start our life together with lots of snuggles with Maxie, our Maltese Terrier. I love you so much. Sorry, this is not pleasant to listen to, Kyle. Stop. Okay, I heard you. Thank you for the feedback. And then in the data of like in the videos, you can watch like the moment that people stop watching. And on TikTok, a lot of the time it's 4 seconds in, right? It's like, oh, he's a fuggo, move on. Or like, oh, no, I don't know what he's talking about, move on. Or like, oh, I was after a makeup tutorial, move on. Or it's that dickhead selling luxury bags again. I don't want to watch him. Does he work for Love Luxury? Have Love Luxury ever reached out to you? You should do a collab with them. Do you know what you should do? UGC content. You should make money from TikToks. Thank you, I know. I'm trying. I'm trying. It's like when you're an actor and people give you the advice of like, you should get a role on Home and Away. A lot of people start out there and they end up doing big movies. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. Do you think I'm performing in Marianne Butler's underdeveloped first season of a work at Brown Smart Theatre because I turned down Home and Away? No. If I had the abs and the kind of like tight jawline and lack of acne, I would be on Summer Bay, babes. Trust me. I'm not hanging out here for the love of the art. I mean, there's lots of benefit in all the things that I do, and I've loved it. But it's like I'm a sneaky little fox that's like whipping around the edges to get what needs to be done. But I'm, like, let's get real. Okay, so my last point's about manifestation. Did we even start any points? I guess sort of. But would be as follows. I think that it is a way of clarifying what you want, and therefore if you're someone like me, sometimes you don't even articulate what you want. I've noticed I previously used to kind of say I was doing a lot more than I was actually doing. I think manifestation and being like, I want 100,000 followers on TikTok before I turn 22, which is on before I turn 38, which is on April 22, which is in less than a week. So I don't even know if we're going to get there, right? I'm at 89,000 and it's going pretty slow. But the action that I'm taking is action that I wouldn't have taken if I hadn't have set that goal. And so I think me being like, manifest it, so I think I see little progress. So when I go back to Katie and I being like, yeah, do we know of any success stories of people that are just like other? I guess you don't know. That's the other thing. You don't know. We are all manifesting, whether you like it or not. The intentions that we put out into the world are the difference between whether the bus driver smiles at you or not, are the difference between whether you remember to bring your lunch, whether you walked out onto the street, whether you decided to buy that thing online, whether you decided to watch the video, whether you decided to go to sleep. Go to sleep! Says Bethany on Scary Island to old mate who runs in the street. You know what I mean. If you know, you know. Real Housewives of New York. That's what I'm talking about. Kelly Ben-Simone. But every moment you're deciding and attracting, right? You can replace the word attracting with like actioning. You're making things happen. I think for me, I'm starting to build up a little body of evidence that I can manifest. And I also think another important fundamental rule that I just want to throw in here, I really sort of need to start the whole thing again, put this transcript through AI, and then spit out a script that makes sense. But of course we're not going to, okay? I'm uploading this. But I think another fundamental rule has to be, you don't get things because you deserve it. Deserve is not part of the equation. Kids born with cancer are not deserving of that. That is such bullshit. And I fucking hate that, to be completely honest. That like really like vile, like guilting around health. I think there's so many circumstances. Like for instance, for myself, if I got diabetes or something now, it's not like, I manifested that because I had some negative thoughts and I said some swear words. It's like, no, I manifested that because I've been inactive and sedentary for the last couple of years, like eating crazily in order to cope with a lot of, like stress and like life stresses. So it's like, I brought this about myself in some way in that instance. But I don't think that changes the randomness of life and the things that get swung in our direction. I don't think if you get a rock through your window, that's you saying like naughty thoughts this week, because it's also such a Western and whack idea of like positive and negative. Happy is good, negative is sad. No, there's a whole lot of things in the world that we should be angry about. And I think they're also equally valid and able to be used as manifestation tools, as dream, perceive, believe. But I do think what we spend our time focusing on is what we're asking for. I don't think the phrase not actually is relevant, and that's just an easy way to explain it. I think it is much more complex. But I think someone walking around being like, I don't want to have a fall. I don't want to have a fall. God, I don't want to have a fall, is 100 times more likely than someone who doesn't even think about it. Doesn't think about it. But I think there's a positive for every one of those negative statements, which is like, I want to move with strength and balance. I want to be in control, and I want to feel anchored to the earth. I think that is, if you really do want to address a history of falling. I also don't think our histories define our futures. I think that's really, really important. But they're constantly clawing at us to be like, no, come back. You're not different. You're the same. You haven't changed a little bit. You're still a whiny little outspoken little show-off. No one likes to show off. All right? I've got a lot of videos to make tonight, but I also had a big awkward sleep in the afternoon. This has been great. It's a new world record for videos, and for that, I make no apologies. Thanks for listening. I look forward to chatting again soon. Good night. Goodbye.